and welcome to Jesus for Asia Now. I'm Natalie Wood, and my husband John is joining me today as we share about a brand new ministry type. Not just a new project, a new type of project. Hello, love.
Hi, darling. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I'm looking forward to this show.
Yeah.
Some major miracle stories.
Yes. Very exciting.
So set us up. Tell us what we're going to do today.
Okay, several months ago, we had the Tenkanos here. Now, you know the Tenkanos.
Right. And probably at least some of our viewers know them.
Absolutely, yeah, because we've had them on this show a number of times.
Right. Ramon and Shandy.
Yes, and they are missionaries in Indonesia.
Right.
They're Indonesian.
Right.
And they came from a very, very wealthy background.
Right.
They had a lot of wealthy friends, and God called them into service because they were dissatisfied with the things of this world.
Right.
And so they really sought after God, really sought after, you know, the message, the truth, who is God. We did a faith camp in Jakarta, 2011.
Right.
And they learned about service.
Right.
The missing component.
Right.
And so they moved out in the country and they started a satellite ministry.
Right.
Now, Indonesia, as you know, is how many islands?
17,508.
Yeah, the number changes depending on the tide.
The water level, yeah.
Not all of them are inhabited,
Right.
obviously. But satellite is the perfect method to reach 17,000 islands.
Right.
And so they've been doing that for 10 years. The Lord has tested them amazingly and really they've done a lot of changes in their life.
Right.
So we recorded a show with them a few months ago that was
Right.
going to be about the health work that they're doing, the healthy lifestyle work that they're doing with their old friends, and this new project.
Right.
And then what's happened between that show and now is so amazing. Some miracles have happened that we said, okay, this has to be its own show.
Right. So we took the part about this new project
Yes.
out of the other show,
Right.
and that will only be focused on the health ministry that they're doing.
Correct.
And then this one is about this new project, which we keep talking about as the new type of project.
Yes. Yes.
Now we want to talk really briefly about another faith project that God seems to be leading toward. And part of it's because Indonesia is a land made of islands.
Yes.
And so there's a tool that can get you from one island to the next much more quickly. And that is an airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you share a little bit about this dream or whatever? I mean, it seems like God's leading that way. I mean, I know it's not funded yet or anything like that.
Yeah.
And the health center isn't either.
Yes.
So that's why it's like faith project after faith project. And that's the lifestyle that God has led you in. But
this is nothing actually new. You know, we've had this television on the satellite for the past 10 years and a half now.
10 years, 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, 10 years and 7 months. And then as soon as we started to broadcast on the satellite, we're getting the signals reaching all parts of Indonesia, right? The footprint, we call it, is just as big as America, the continent.
But the island is
17,000 island, 500 something.
508,000 island.
Yeah, and there's just so many people that are responding from places that we haven't even heard of. You know, where is this? Where are you calling from?
yeah, what island? What
Area? Why? Oh, okay. And then we look at the map, you know, and then they're asking us to, oh, do you have any teachers or Bible worker you can send us, or nurse, or can you send us books? You know, some Muslim ask for books, even Bibles, and then we send them Bible, we send them books. What do I read? What do I do?
they need mentorship.
Yeah, there's so many different needs in different parts of island. We cannot serve every single one of them. But you know, one of the good, effective ways to reach out to them is aviation. So very early in this TV ministry, we knew we were going to have aviation somewhere down the line, even though it's already been 10 years. And no, I'm a pilot. I am the pilot. I became the pilot, but still without wings, you know. But God is going to provide, I think, that sometime soon, you know, before Jesus comes, we're getting invitations to reach out the television viewers. There's for instance, we're planning to reach out to this two destinations. One in the slightly west, one is in the east part of where we are, and then one's 141 miles west. And then the other one is 170 miles east.
Oh,
That's not that far really. But with a car, this is like 16 hours and 18 hours to get there. It's ridiculous. But with the airplane, you can get there in an hour and a half or 2 hours.
right.
And then we can drop off the health worker or Bible worker, depending on the needs. We can quickly develop, make frequent visits, drop them off and pick them up and then install different programs. They know we care for them. And that's how you're going to make effective evangelism,
Right.
And this is really the faith project. It's really going to cost a lot of money, but we're
Yeah,
going to
because one time we got invitation in Kalimantan, Borneo.
Oh,
then,
yeah.
I remember to reach to that place, it took us like how many hours?
Yeah, that was about 150 miles inland from the coastal city. It took us close to 24 hours to get there.
And then we
drove.
We drove by car.
And then the tire broke, or the tire.
When we visit there, that point, and we met a pastor, an old pastor. You can see the old pastor, serving in the.
Yeah, he was serving 6 or 7 churches or something.
And the pastor came because he just he just want to meet us, and he's like, wow, I'm so happy to see you in person. I'm really blessed to see because we watch your television. And then I was like, wow, he is so old and he's so tired.
Drive motorcycle.
The
and
strike
old.
me is what when I see his motorcycle, and his motorcycle is very old. You can name it. It's very old, like wow. And he drive like more than 20 hours just only visit me to want to see me and my husband in person.
No.
And I asked him, can you explain, your road, your way to go here? Yeah, I need to Sungai Musi. Is it?
No, it's
No,
not.
it's
That.
not.
It's just the big rivers
The
crossing.
big, I need to cross in the big
cross
river.
the river.
One
And
town
then
after another, village after
and
village.
then I was like, wow, And then when we came to that place, somebody come to us and said like, hey, before this place is
Back in the early 80s?
Early 80s, this is Adventist village,
This
right?
whole village used to be Seventh Adventists. I'm like, oh, how come they're not Adventists anymore? Well, because there's a new church coming, and then just kind of recruit them one by one, and then your church stopped coming here. What are you talking about? Yeah, back in the 80s, there's an airplane going here, like few times every month, by American pilot. So it used to be funded, the aviation program was funded from this coastal city to that area frequently. And then after that stopped, there's no more service. People kind of forgot after a few years, and then the generation sort of have no connections anymore with the church.
They even
and then
show
there's
us the airstrip.
And then I was taken to the area where they used to have this airstrip built by our church. It's not even airstrip anymore, just like soccer field, one after another, houses. I'm like, oh, that kind of broke my heart. I knew that God, you have to reinstall this program for us to reach out to them again, because they know we're in television, and there's not one place like this. There's so many different places that are asking us the same thing. We remember you, we know you from a long time ago. Come back to see us. We give you like acres of land for you to land your airplanes. Like, wow, Lord.
Like we know like Indonesian is a lot of island, like 17,500.
17,500.
Yeah.
508.
Okay.
17,508.
Island. And then I was like, I said like, if we always, like we go to state and then we can drive, go to the other, state,
Yeah.
right?
How many states this summer?
Right, like
25 states.
25 states.
In America.
In America. But in Indonesia, it's impossible for us to bring car. Right?
Yeah, no.
Just
it's
no, it's
island.
impossible. It's an island.
Yeah.
You cannot swim to go to the other island.
Right.
And then God always
And
whispered
even
to us.
ferries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boats.
everything is
Yeah.
connected
Yeah.
to ferry.
Yeah.
Even
Takes
God
a long
always
time.
whispered to us like you need to do something. You need to do something. And then we treat our viewers as our family. They are very connect to us. They just like, hey, can you give the name for my children, for my daughter?
Yeah.
They just do it. Not just only that. Hey, I need something for even like that.
We got a recent call from a television viewer. I got a
This is
problem.
like
Nobody can help me. I spent so
Nobody.
much money to go see different doctors.
But
What
we
is the
believe
problem?
you.
I have a strong body odor. We sort of
They even
smile,
asked to us,
body
you know?
odor, and then, wow, and then they give them, why would I try one solution? What is it? Baking soda.
They
What do you
even
mean? We can buy that in a local market, like cheap too. I'm like, yeah, go buy it, try it. And then the lady tried it. Like a few days after that, she came back on the phone like, whoa, wow, that's such a easy solution.
you know
Wow.
like
Well,
you know
things
that
like
is
that, you know?
that is how
Simple.
we
Very simple.
That is how we very close with our viewers, you know.
Yeah.
They always give us like stories, you know, like they just want to talk to us. And like many, like, you know, there's many times we visit them.
Yeah, we see them in person.
We sleep in their house. They love to see us because, you know, they love to see people in the television, right? And they just like, wow, there is people in television. And especially when we came to their house, they are really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And not just only that, they see something message, like very firm message. When they see us wake up in the morning, they just like, wow, your movement is very firm. Why? What is very firm? I can, you know, what is the strong message that you bring to us? What is that? I can see you. What he said?
And you wake up in the morning with the same look the way you slept at night. It's something
And then,
like that.
you know, and then not just only that, the way I see you in the television, it's same.
Yeah,
Here.
there's simplicity. You know, that's some message
And
that
that is
many
some
of them
message.
appreciate.
So that's why we really want to have some aviation, like not us. If you ask us as a human, of course, this is
prefer
like,
not.
Lord, this is a big burden already, you know.
Yeah.
You give us the other big burden. But God always whisper, you know, you need to do this. They need to see you, you know, you need to do this. And so that's why we just say, you know, like, okay, Lord, but not firm, like not okay, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do that. So that's why we need.
Yes, you open the door. I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
we'll go
Door.
forward.
Joshua 1 verse 3 says, wherever the sole of thy foot shall tread upon, that have I already given unto you. You know, it's just a matter of you willing to make step there, because that God has already given unto us. You know,
Yeah.
that's His promise.
To that.
Even though we prefer not to go cycling, we prefer not to fly anywhere. We prefer to be home, really, because we're tired, you know.
And
But when God says go, if you want to go, I'm going to provide.
If you're willing to go, I'm going to provide.
Yeah, yeah. And just a really quick statistic on why airplanes are so powerful in Indonesia. The country is about the size of the United States geographically, distance-wise, even though the United States is all connected by land, whereas Indonesia is all islands. But as far as actual distance of roads, Indonesia has about 5% of the roads that we have here in America. So you can imagine trying to get anywhere in America if we only had 5% of the roads that we have.
Yeah, it wouldn't work well.
And I've been in Indonesia. I mean, you talk about, hey, let's go 100 kilometers, 60 miles down the road. That could take several hours. You know, and here we think 60 miles,
Depending
well, that's less than an hour.
Right.
But over there, it's not like that. And
Right.
so,
Well, because it's not just is there a road? It's
Right.
what is the quality of the road, and where is the road located? Like how much traffic will there be on that road?
exactly.
Because there are fewer roads, there is a lot more traffic on some of those roads.
Right, and Indonesia is one of the most highly densely populated areas on the planet.
Right.
And so you get a lot of traffic, a lot of people.
So we recorded this show, and then we were talking about it
Yes.
and praying about it
Yes.
together before they went back to Indonesia.
Right, because I was very unsure about this, because I know that airplane programs are not really cheap. And not only
And
that,
they're usually underfunded.
and just the difficulty of running one, the paperwork, all the challenges. I mean,
Right.
and so it's like I was unsure. But here's a guy that has a lot of business experience,
Right.
and he's Indonesian, and there's this need. I mean, that story of the entire town that used to be Adventist, that the runway that our church built is being used for a soccer field and stuff
And
like that.
housing now, and
It's like,
there
okay,
won't be a runway anymore.
yeah, it's like, okay, God, I can't see the way clear to get a program going, but maybe you do. And if we just move forward according to the need, Just follow where the need is. Maybe you'll open the door.
Right.
And so I says, okay, well, go back, when you go back to Indonesia, look for a plane, see what God does. Because we were thinking, should we send one from America to Indonesia?
Right.
Because you got import tax, you've got shipping costs, you got to disassemble the airplane in America, send it over there and reassemble it. And then you've got to get it registered, and how are you going to register it? Just a lot of questions, a lot of unknowns, and a lot of expense.
Yeah.
So we're looking at different airplanes for sale here, just wasn't really working out. And so then they went back home to Indonesia, and then I went on a trip to Thailand.
Right.
So
we have a picture from your hotel room in Thailand.
Very exciting photo. I spent 10 days right here. A lot of praying, and a lot of, I had my walking trail, 12 steps this way and 12 steps that way, just back and forth for 10 days straight.
Right. It's hard to get enough exercise that way, but you try.
But while I was there, I got a picture from Ramon. He says, hey, I found an airplane.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's not what I was thinking about. Because I'm thinking, big Tundra tires, really remote stuff. And this is not a remote type airplane. This isn't like a primitive airstrip type of airplane. And I'm like, I'm not sure this is the right thing. And he looked into it some more. He says, this is a really good price. It was selling for $62,000. And brand new, this is $120,000, $130,000.
Right.
Only had 150 hours on it.
That's really, really very little.
That's very little. I mean, you don't have to rebuild the engine until like 2,000 hours. So that's almost brand new.
Right.
And the guy that bought this had bought it from the factory, shipped it from America, and had the factory people come and reassemble it in Indonesia.
Wow.
And then he registered it in Indonesia. So the total cost of this airplane originally for that guy, for the seller, was $180,000.
Wow. So $62,000 was a really cheap asking price.
Yeah, that's a third.
Wow.
And then the miracle happened. I was praying about it, Lord, really, Lord, do you really want this to happen? And just praying, when you've got nothing to do, then you can pray. You got time to pray.
Right.
And then you guys called me.
Right. Because we got a check here in the office that was designated for any project anywhere, and it was $50,000.
Yeah, but it was for a mission project.
Right. Right.
Yes. And so it was how much?
It was $50,000.
50,000. We get a lot of those, don't we?
Nope.
So this was a very unusual experience.
Right.
And very unusual timing.
Right. Right.
And so I told Ramon, I says, okay, why don't you go and offer him 50,000, and if the guy accepts it, we know God's in this.
Right. That would definitely be a good sign.
Yeah, because he's already selling it for a third of what he put into it.
Right.
And so Ramon went there and test flew it, loved the plane, and offered him 50,000. And the guy took it.
Right.
Yeah. He says, but I need the money right away because his business, due to COVID, was going down. And so he needed the cash right away. And so we sent the cash. And what happened to the wire transfer?
It didn't get there.
It went into...
Yeah. One of them had the name on the account incorrect.
By the bank.
By the bank, yeah. Somebody made a typo. And so then once that was corrected and the correction was sent through, then that one actually went into the bank account, but it went like a week later.
Yeah.
So it was like the money was not getting there. It was nowhere. They couldn't figure out why it was stalled. The other one was the name was right and everything, but it did not go to the account.
Yeah.
And so we finally ended up sending 2 more wire transfers from a different account, a totally different way.
Yep.
And those ones got there, but late.
Yeah. So it was like that. He made the offer on a Monday.
Right.
We thought that we'd be able to pay for it on a Wednesday.
Right.
The following Wednesday,
the money still wasn't there.
Still wasn't there.
So we sent it again the second way.
So we sent it again. And I remember that Friday, just like going after God, just like, Lord.
Because the owner had said, I need the money Friday.
Right. That Friday, yeah, that second Friday,
Right.
he says that's the deadline. If the money's not here,
That's it. I'm
deal's
taking
off.
the other
Yeah,
person's.
because somebody else had offered more money by
Right.
then.
Right.
And so I was just like really begging God. I was like, Lord, it's my fault. I did it wrong, and we should
If
have
it's
done
your
it.
will, if
Yeah.
it's, you know.
Oh, Lord, just please don't let us lose it, because we know Satan's angry about this. You know, and he likes to control the money matters.
Right.
And so he's fighting this thing hard. And so we just like prayed really hard. And Ramon's friend, who was also a friend with the seller, came to, stood up for Ramon and say, hey, please don't let
Yeah,
this.
just wait a little longer.
Yeah, just wait a little longer. And praise God, the money came in that Sunday.
Right. So Monday, he was able to pay the owner
Yes.
and become the owner
Right.
of the airplane.
Right.
Yeah, it was really frustrating. Like,
Yeah.
where did the money go? Like,
Right.
that's a lot of money to have
Yeah.
just disappear.
Thank God that we've been able to find it, so we haven't lost anything.
Right. Right.
Yeah, their money is, part of it's come back, and the other one's over there getting used,
Right.
but it's safe.
Yeah.
So it's just,
It was one of those things where it was like, okay, Lord, this is your money. Anybody that's touching it is messing with you. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's the good thing about realizing that God owns everything,
yes,
because we can trust him with his money, even if we don't know where it is, and it kind of freaks us out.
yes,
But we know that nothing can happen to it that's
Yeah.
outside of his full plan.
yes. And the other beautiful thing is that through this, I've really come to love our bank. The people in there, they just love what we're doing. They just really try to bend over backwards to help us. To
Yeah, they
support us.
pray. They pray for our
Yeah.
projects. They're excited when
Yeah.
something good is happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
They're
really
just very
neat.
encouraging, and
Yeah.
every time we go in there, we come out feeling,
Encouraged.
yeah.
Yep.
And that's a blessing
Yes.
in this world.
Yeah. So I have a few more pictures of the airplane.
Yeah. And here they're washing it. These are the first pictures that I saw, these three. It's a kind of a small airplane. This is a video of them flying. And then here's Ramon getting time. Now Ramon had about 100 hours of flight time. So he already was a pilot, had his pilot's license. So he's getting checked out, but he needs another 20 or so hours in this plane before he can, be let loose in
He's
it.
certified to fly it by himself.
Right. Now, those of you that are into airplanes, you'll notice that it has a glass cockpit. That's a big deal. Instead of all the little analog instruments, it's got like the big digital instruments. So it's very modern.
Right.
And so this is really important, because when I was growing up, when I was 2 months old, my parents went to New Guinea, and I went there with them. And
Good thing.
and my dad has always been an airplane fanatic. Loved airplanes. If he could have figured out how to have the Sabbath off, he would have been an airline pilot.
Right.
But he was a doctor instead. And while he was a missionary in New Guinea, he got to fly, and because the main pilot was injured. And so they asked my dad to do some flying, and there was a time when he was flying and he could not see any runways, because he was up above the clouds and he couldn't see anything down below. And this is obviously before they had instruments. They couldn't see the weather patterns coming in. They couldn't see how to get around and where the runways, they couldn't land.
And New Guinea, there are mountains.
Very tall mountains.
Yes.
And so it's very dangerous. And so having this kind of instrumentation, I think, is really important for
Right.
them.
You should finish that story.
Oh, so
He landed safely.
yeah, my mom didn't know where he was. He prayed really hard, and he saw a hole in the clouds, and he just went right down through those clouds. The ground control was yelling at him, give us an update, and he's like, he just took his headphones off, because he just had to focus on landing.
He didn't have any update. He didn't know where he was.
Right. And so he got in, he landed, and then of course he couldn't take off because everything just socked in. So it was a miracle that he landed. And
Right.
Then he was locked down there for 3 days. Of course, my mom didn't know, couldn't get word from him if he was okay or not. And so she's up there in the highlands in her mission house with 2 kids, not knowing where her husband was for 3 days. And so
A lot of praying. So now there's something special about different kinds of gas with airplanes
Correct.
as well. And this
Correct.
one, yeah, I think you need to explain that as well.
Okay, so most airplanes take aviation fuel, which is better fuel, but it's very expensive. And so he was specifically looking for an airplane that would take normal car fuel, auto fuel. It's about a third the price.
Wow.
And so it gets good gas mileage, and it only takes, normal car gasoline.
Right.
And so it's very
Which is very important.
yes, very inexpensive,
especially
to
in
fly.
smaller airports.
yeah, to find the gas, but also just the cost of operation.
Right.
It's one of the least expensive airplanes that you could find to operate on a per hour basis.
Wow.
So very
Which
exciting.
is a God thing too.
Absolutely. God's been leading so clearly in each step of the way. And we know that God's going to continue to lead because he has a plan. And there's going to be people in heaven because of this.
Right.
New places opened, as Ramon was saying, taking Bible workers and putting them in places where there's no Adventist presence. And in Indonesia, okay, just to get an idea of the unreached people groups in Indonesia, there's like 1,500 languages in which there's no Adventist work whatsoever.
Wow.
1,500 languages. The statistic I've been told is that if we continue entering into new languages at the rate that we're currently entering into, it'll take 600 years before Jesus can come. And so
Every nation, kindred, tongue, and people.
exactly. And so this has been our prayer this whole last year, is like, Lord, you got to take over because we got to go faster.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to take this God's got to find new ways to open up new territory.
Right.
And
he's got to light that fire that
Yeah.
burns fast and furious across the countrysides.
right. We're also praying for a ultralight airplane
Mm-hmm.
that will help with this project as well. We have one in Thailand, but we're trying to get it shipped down to Indonesia.
Which needs a lot of prayer too.
Yes, because Satan's been fighting that hard.
Right.
He just doesn't want to lose any of his territory.
Right.
But God's in charge.
Yep.
Yes. And God's
And
going to.
God will do a lot more miracles.
And Matthew 24:14 will be fulfilled.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, I would like to invite you, if you would like to be a part of this miracle story, you can contact us at Jesus for Asia, P.O. Box 1221, Collegedale, Tennessee, 37315. Call us at 423-413-7321 or visit our website at jesusforasia.org. May God richly bless you until we see you next time on Jesus for Asia Now.